Hello and welcome to Collector's Impact. I'm DK, and today we're going to talk about shipping and handling of collectible items. Yeah, kind of an odd topic, I know, but this is something that has really come to my attention, especially over the last 6 months or so. With the rise in the collectibles market and the value of certain collectibles, there are a lot of people out there who are shipping their collections or collectibles that they may have in their closet and things that have gone way up in value, and now they're going ahead and sending them off to a new home. And I wanted to make this video for anyone who may be trying to do that, or just anyone who's kind of new to the trade as a whole and wants to really make sure that they maintain their 100% positive 5-star ratings, and you always make the customer happy because the item always gets there in pristine condition and you don't run into any random issues with the post office or other shipping carriers where the item gets damaged. So this video is all about the best methods to ship cards, comics, and other collectibles like figurines and things like that. Video games, consoles, whatever you want. It's pretty much covered in here using these methods. So if you want to just see the methods that I personally recommend based on the 20+ years experience I have selling, thousands of items both professionally and on the side for myself, go to this timestamp here and I will explain in great detail the best methods for that. But I've also put together a nice segment which will follow right after this, where I break down some boxes that have recently come in the mail and packages and things. They're totally random, completely unscripted. I'm just doing unboxings of these items, and we're going to rate how the seller decided to ship them. We're going to rate them from 1 being the worst possible methods and why, all the way to 10 being the best. If you're ready to see the whole video, grab a drink or something, grab some food, I don't know, sit back, relax, enjoy, just have fun. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, or especially content regarding collectibles, the market, PSA grading, all of that good stuff is covered on the channel. So thank you very much for coming by, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's go ahead and open this first one. Now the first thing that you want to do is, of course, feel the package, see where the item is potentially, and use either a cutting implement or just your own hands to start to tear at the packaging. So half of the challenge really is you want to create a good unboxing experience for your customer. That is, well, I guess priority number one is you want to protect the item the best you can and have it arrive in non-damaged condition. That's number one. And number two is creating a good unboxing experience for your customer. That is almost just as important because they're going to remember it. They really are. If it's a terrible, horrible way to open a package, which I'm sure you guys out there who have ordered plenty of things online, you've run into this where you're like, what were they thinking, kind of a thing. Yeah, that will stick with your customer and could potentially lead to non-repeat business. So that's my 2 cents on that topic. Let me go ahead and get rid of any sort of information from the seller. I'm not trying to blast anyone here. This is purely an example video, not necessarily a review of any particular seller or items. So as you can see, inside of this package is some cardboard. Yeah, very flashy and lovely, right? This is actually the components to a 2-row box that holds PSA graded cards. In terms of this item, I would rate the packing at a 9. 9 out of 10. That was pretty solid. Unboxing experience was good. The item arrived safe. There's minimal damage to the cardboard. It was in a big enough envelope that it wasn't squashed and bent. So yeah, that was pretty solid. So 9 out of 10. Good job, seller. Next, let's go for something smaller. Right here is just a standard bubble mailer envelope. Now the first thing we're going to check is, well, this is obviously going to be a card of some sort that I purchased. Now, First thing that we're going to check is rigidity. So did they put any sort of cardboard backing in here to ensure that the card would remain safe on its journey? It does not feel like they did, aside from a top loader, which, let's be perfectly honest, that is fine, assuming that the value of the card is within a comfortable range. Now, okay, right here is, well, as you can see, this is one of those double-sided lands. In fact, I think there's multiple in here. So, me personally, I guess I'm a little bit picky when it comes to this kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and break this down. So, you saw I just pulled it out of the envelope, and we have some masking tape at the top. And inside of this top loader, which is a beautiful condition top loader, so I'll give them that. They didn't use a nasty one with all kinds of, you know, gunk on it from previous use. It's clearly they used a new top loader, so I appreciate that. But number one, tape at the top. This is an extremely common thing that people do, but in my opinion, in my book, that is that's a big no-no. And it's a big no-no for a very particular reason, which is in transit, the cards can shift around sometimes, and the border of the card, if you're looking as a buyer for a mint condition card, which I am, I'm hoping to send these off for grading, actually, because I'm weird, but we'll discuss that later. But as they shift around in transit, sometimes the cards bump up against the tape. And when they bump up against the tape, depending on the type of tape, which this person used masking tape, which is what you put on like trim before you paint so that it doesn't peel the paint off. At least most of the time it doesn't. So this is somewhat safe tape, but it's still an adhesive, it's still very sticky, and it could cause potential damage if the card bumps up against it. It could cause, you know, the tape to stick to the very border of the card, and when you pull it off, you could have some damage occur to the card. So it's extremely common. The worst method is Scotch tape or packing tape, especially. The worst one, oh my god, is when people take like packing tape that you'd seal a box with and they put it all the way across and then fold it over. That's the worst thing you can do when shipping your customer a card in the mail, I swear. I will show you the right way to do it that will be perfect every time, so stick with me until then. But anyway, so we pulled the tape off. Now let's go ahead and inspect the rest here. So if you reach in ever so gently and grab the case, you know, try not to touch the card, just touch the plastic. Pull that out. Now you can see that, I'm not going to mess with it too much on camera, honestly. There are two cards in this one sleeve. So that right there is another, you know, kind of, it's really not that good when you're talking about the quality. When you're talking about foils and stuff, especially nice foils, you know, you kind of want to give your customer the best experience possible when it comes to something like this. So you would at least, in theory, you'd sleeve both cards individually, and you would use two top loaders. You'd put each one in their own top loader, you'd put them together, and then, well, I'll go ahead and show you now. Then you'd get a product called a team bag, which looks like this, and you would put the two sleeved cards in here. And it has a resealable adhesive on the back, so you'd peel that off and do like that, and then there's no potential exposure to the top of the cards or anything like that. That is the best way to ship, you know, multiple cards of somewhat decent value to your customer. And we will get into more detail around that later. I do have more things to show you, so I didn't just give it all the way there, obviously. Anyway, so in terms of that one and the packing job and everything, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. The card did arrive safe, so their method did work, ultimately. That's a good thing. So, but there's just too much potential for damage and risk, honestly, using that method. So 5 out of 10 there. Next, let's check out this somewhat medium-sized package. Let's see what's in here. Alright. Feel around, it feels like this is all air right here. So let's go ahead and slice on into that. And what do you know? It's some team bags. Hey, I wonder why. Maybe because I use them in my shipping. So here's a good example. If you want to just have some supplies on hand, I always try to keep a few extra in a box so that they're always here when I need them. So that's what they're there for. And so for this and this particular item and value tier, I'm gonna rate this one a 10 out of 10. Nothing wrong with it. Padded bubble mailer envelope, decent shipping. It's a good transaction. That's pretty much, that's ideal. 10 out of 10 for that particular type of thing. So if that's what you're selling and that's how you pack it, good on you. That's all you really need. Here's another card order. So let's go ahead and see what this person did. So feel around in there and you see that now it might have some backing in there. There might be some added support. So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's just make sure there's nothing at the edges, and there's not. So let's go ahead and slice on into that. All right, and there's paper. I'm trying not to get any of that kind of stuff on camera. All right, now this one, okay. This one is very similar to the last one, except it's extremely similar, and they're from different sellers, I swear. So they used the new top loader. That's nice. That's a plus. They did not put it in any sort of team bag or protective, protective bag of any kind, and they sealed the top loader with Scotch tape. And you can see how tight the seal is. Well, maybe not. If it's probably so dang tight that it won't focus, but it's pinched shut at the top, which I guess in a way is good because it prevents the card from bumping up against it. So that's some pretty crafty little thinking there using this method. So that I'll give as a positive score for that particular method. Now I usually use my thumb. I put it in there, put the thumbnail, and then slide it down and cut that tape. If it's thin enough, it's not a problem. Reach in there, get the case, pull it out, inspect the cards. They're okay. I mean, they're kind of a little bit bent. I don't know if that's from the shipping method or more so just the cards themselves, because Wizards quality control, as we all know these days, is not the best. But this one, again, there's multiple copies in the one sleeve. That is a ding in my book. That's not good because they get friction rubbing together, especially on the full foil surfaces like this. They can get friction wear just being together and moving around. It's always best to have them individually sleeved. And they do sell top loaders that hold multiple cards if you wanted to go that method. They do sell ones that are slightly bigger at the opening. So you can double sleeve, or you can, not double sleeve, but you can put your cards each in a sleeve, put them together, and slide them in those top loaders. For this particular method that they used, I like that they pinched it shut and that they've used a smaller piece of tape. So I'll go ahead and rate this one a 6 out of 10. Could use some work, but it's all right. Next item, let's look at this one. This one is a prime example of what were they thinking. Again, not going to divulge who this seller is or anything like that, but okay, so I ordered a magazine from this person, a vintage magazine. I ordered a few of them, so I'm not sure which one this one is, but you can see that they wrapped it up in like a purple envelope of some kind, maybe like a birthday envelope, and they put packing tape all around the whole thing, and they covered all the edges, and everything is sealed with this packing tape. So, well, it looks okay at the surface level, it looks all right. The question that I have now is, how the hell do I open it? So there's, obviously it contains a magazine, so it has paper. So you don't just want to start tearing into it with scissors and knives, right? So seriously, how do I open this? So you've got to really, as the receiver of this, you've got to really think about it. So I will say that it's got cardboard on this end, on the bottom end, right here. There is cardboard inside of it. So that's nice. And it gives you a starting place to really feel around. You can feel the item. I can see the spine is here or the other side, I don't know. But you can tell, geez, I don't know how to, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of hit it down like that and then feel at the top, see if there's any loose room. And it does feel like there's a slight, ever so slight bit of loose room, like right here. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and riskingly cut this plastic and then start peeling away. Oh, buddy. Okay. Let's see if I can even get this on camera. So I've started peeling away. It's not really given much leeway there to do so because of all the tape. So I'm just gonna do what I can to kind of get in here and start messing with it. So, okay. Let's go ahead and okay. Yeah, alright, see, because of all the tape they put, you can't easily start unfolding it and getting it out. You know, it's really, it's like taped too much. There is a such thing as too much tape, guys. There is a such thing. So let's go ahead and go to this side. Okay, and you gotta just really hope that your scissors don't get in there and do more damage than is already done to the magazine. Some of these magazines were not in mint condition, so it may be somewhat acceptable if it's one of those. It's kind of a used, beat up item anyway. It really doesn't matter. Okay, now that it's slid out and it has the bubble wrap, that's a nice touch. You know, kudos to them for that. Remove that. Okay, this particular magazine, don't judge. This is not, you know, obviously, this is not a political channel or whatever. This is a collectible item. This is the Newsweek presidential magazines that were released in 2016. So the story behind this particular magazine, for all of you who are unaware, Newsweek actually did they did a pretty interesting faux pas with their publication. So they published a magazine that stated that Hillary won the presidential election in 2016. They did not anticipate Donald Trump, regardless of how you feel about the guy. They did not anticipate him to win, right? So they only published magazines with Hillary Clinton being the president, and they did not publish any for Trump. So after she lost, they had to go back and delay the publication, pull all of those magazines off the shelf, and then republish one where Trump won. So I already have a copy of the Hillary Victory magazine in the collection, in my collection of rare magazines. And so I wanted to get the counterpart one for historical reference and have the Trump one as well. Again, not a political channel. I am not endorsing any of these people. I'm just showing this as a collectible item. I think that definitely in the future, as we all know, with everything that's going on and has gone on, those types of items are going to be interesting historical pieces to have in the future. Yeah, in terms of this packing job, I'd give this a 2 out of 10. That was... It only gets to 2 because it had the cardboard and whatever this bubble wrap sleeve is that truly kind of helped to protect that magazine. But ultimately, it could have suffered a lot more damage than it did in the mail in the condition in which they shipped this. That is a 2 out of 10 all day long. Alright, next item comes to us in this beautiful priority mail box that has been through hell. You can tell. I mean, look at this. This is the post office. Like, wow. Okay, yeah. So with this particular box, let's go ahead and try to use our hands and just play with it. Yeah, see, that's dangerous too. If you're going to use one of these pre-made boxes from the USPS, always, always, always put tape at that point. You know, where it comes together, just put a piece of tape. Because any schmo can just open this up. Anybody who wants to can just open it up and take what's inside. Which in this case is a Commander Legends collector box in German. Very random item, I know. I won it off of eBay. I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking, to be honest, as I really only like English products, but this one was a decent deal, so I just I picked it up. I may resell this at a later date, maybe in the near future if the Jeweled Lotus keeps going up. But back to the shipping method, they only put that in a box with there's no padding, there's no bubbles, there's no packing beads, and they didn't use tape to seal it on a multi-$100 item. All of those things give this a 2 out of 10 as well. That is not good shipping. You definitely don't want to do that to your customer. If you're going to sell them a multi-$100 item, you got to treat it with some respect. And because of their shipping method, it looks like the box did get a ding here. It got a ding. You can see the wrinkling. It definitely has sustained some damage from its travel. Not enough to really make the value go down significantly. It doesn't look like the items inside are damaged or should be damaged. But its overall condition, it's no longer mint. It is definitely, it has some notable damage. So yeah, 2 out of 10 for that one. So our next item looks like another magazine of sorts. So with this particular shipping, we can look right at the packaging and tell that they used official magazine shipping. So right there is many, many points in the book. So that's a really important thing to note. If you are going to sell things like comics and magazines, anything that is book-like and collectible, you want to buy this type of material that's specific for shipping those. If it's just a one-off thing, you know, you can do your best and find something, I'm sure. But it's also nice that they stamped it with fragile. That lets the postal workers know to handle it with care, and believe it or not, it looks like they did. There is no notable dings or extreme damage to this. So now with that said, let's see, it looks like they did use just some tape right here to seal it up, which is another good method. So since they used tape, we can go ahead and use a razor knife. Just go ahead and get your little blade, put it in the thing, go for it. Okay. That's not on them, that's on me. I'm just kind of bad at this right now. Alright, so let's go ahead and grip that open. Do it to the other side. Okay. Alright. We have broken the tape. Let's go ahead and open it. And what's inside? Boom. A vintage Pokemon Scry magazine. And they even have it bagged and boarded. This, they have it sandwiched between 2 pieces of cardboard. This is clearly from a comic store or other business like that. This shipping method gets a 10 out of 10. No doubt. If you're going to sell comics or magazines, that's how it's done. 10 out of 10. So I don't even need to show you guys an example with one of my own comics for protecting very, very well. This is it right here. Double sandwich between cardboard. You know, put it in a nice custom fit box for it and seal it up and put your one piece of packing tape up the middle. Boom. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. Next, let's see. Looks like more magazines. This particular seller put them in a vinyl record album case. This particular box is designed for shipping vinyls. You can tell just by the dimensions and everything, and the fact that the box itself is weighted. The bottom is where the item is, the top is empty space, or you know, maybe some padding or something, but you can definitely tell the weight distribution is uneven. So let's see what it looks like inside before I judge too much. Go ahead and cut this open. This one was taped. They taped it all the way. They taped it all the way across the whole bottom, and the middle, which, I mean, that's okay. It's kind of bordering on a little too much tape to make it a good experience, but it's borderline. Ideally, in a situation like this, you kind of want to put the tape right here to here and leave the edges exposed for good access with a knife for the person who's unboxing it. Sorry if you can hear me breathing. My nose is like literally right in the camera. Alright, here we go. So, they put it in the box with some bubble wrap. Just some loose bubble wrap. They did not, it's not a bag or anything like that. It's just loose bubble wrap. And here are the two magazines on top of each other, still factory sealed, which is nice. That is what was in the description. Ultimately, this is about a 9 out of 10. 8 or 9 out of 10 shipping method. It could be safer. If they really want that 10 out of 10, you put some other cardboard or something else to kind of secure it in place a little better and help with the shifting, because as it shifts in the mail, you could ding the corners. Luckily, this didn't happen. These did not get dinged, though the risk potential was there. So 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, depending on how lenient you want to be. And for the last example of the video, at least from an outside source, we have this Priority Mail medium rate shipping box. One thing right out the bat, here in the corner, this is how it arrived. So the tape that they used came right up. So, you know, there's a such thing as too much tape, and there's a such thing as too little tape. If you know that your tape isn't super sticky, you want to at least extend it out to maybe, I don't know, right there on the box. You don't want to just try to put the little flap and then it just comes up, you know. So, yeah, that came right off. It's just be conscious of that when you're packing your item. But overall, it's not bad. Because they taped all the way down for some extra protection on the actual flap, which is nice. Now this box got damaged in the mail, so that's just an example of how the post office can handle your packages sometimes. So that's why it's nice to have the item kind of suspended in some form of packing beads or bubble wrap. So let's see what it looks like in here. Well, look at that. They did exactly that. So that's good. It's a little messy, but it's good for protection to have these packing beads. So this item is suspended in the beads, which is nice. So let's see what it is. You know, you do want to be conscious of the mess that it's going to make as well. And now inside we have this. This is where it starts to get into a problem. Inside, we have this overly protected situation going on. It's very similar to the other one that we saw, the magazine that was covered in the pink or the purple or whatever. There's just tape all over this stuff. So let's just really Yeah, see right here, there's two, whatever. Whatever, you can maneuver your way around it somewhat. Okay. And then, so I peeled that layer off, and guess what? More tape on each side. But again, this falls into the category of ultimately rule number one. You want the item to arrive not damaged to your customer. So this is kind of forgivable. It's not completely over the top like I've seen before. Okay, see? Now, I thought this was going to be a magazine, but instead it's actually a person's collection of cards. Ugh. I mean, yeah, I guess ultimately it's okay. It is very well protected with the cardboard, but I'm going to have to really dig into this and see. I'm not going to go through it on camera because there's still a lot more tape. There's a lot more everything I got to cut and cut and cut and try not to damage any cards now that they're exposed. So these are loose 9-pocket pages wrapped up in bubble wrap and tape and cardboard. Yeah, for what it is, I guess it's okay. I'll give this a 6 out of 10 because, yeah, so a lot of those cards could risk damage from this packaging. But ultimately, they tried really hard. I'll give it a 7, actually, 7 out of 10. Now for what I promised. The best method for packing up single cards that you're selling that are of a decent value. Let's use this as our example. This card right here, this Realm Walker, box promo, buy a box promo, I think is what it is. It's a buy a box promo from Magic. Full art foil. It's probably worth, I don't know, $5 or something, but let's just pretend in Imagination Land that this card is worth $35. Okay? So, well, first, screw it. First, it's worth $5. So this is what you would do. You would put it in the case, and then you put it in the team bag. You'd seal it up. And then if your seller has agreed, if it's a $5 value card, you can just put it into an envelope, put a stamp on it, and mail it that way. If it gets damaged, you're both out $5, essentially. You'll have to come to an agreement on what to do, but $5 is a gamble risk that you take to ship it that method. That's number one. Number two is if it's worth $35. What you would do in that scenario is the exact same thing here. You'd put it in there, you'd put it in the thing. Then you get yourself a piece of cardboard. Now for this, I just used a box that was lying around, and I cut a flap off of it and got a nice clean, preferably get a clean piece of cardboard, which is good to keep all the packing material you receive in the mail because you can easily transform it and reuse it. Talk about the ultimate form of recycling, reusing a box for shipping if it's in decent condition. It saves you money, saves you time. I highly recommend that. I have a whole collection of the best kind of boxes that I receive and reuse. Now you take a top loader, an empty one of course, preferably a trashy one, and you measure it out on the piece of cardboard. You get its size, get you some heavy duty titanium scissors, and you cut it out. Turn it sideways, measure it again, cut. So now you've got one piece. Oh, but it doesn't end there. So grab your cardboard again, put it up, measure, cut, do it again, measure to the end point, cut, so you cut the two pieces of cardboard to be pretty much even and to fit the size of a top loader. Then you get your packaged card and you sandwich it in between the two pieces of cardboard so that it's nice. And now from here you can either do a couple of things. You can apply, like this is where that masking tape would actually come in handy. You put two pieces of masking tape on it, things like that. That would be fine. That's a 9 out of 10 method. Or if you really want that 10 out of 10 5-star feedback every time, and I'm speaking from experience here, you get one of these. This is a Beckett graded card sleeve. 2mm Beckett sized grading card sleeve, not PSA, Beckett. And then you, that's important, it really is for the dimensions. And then you slide everything in and get it all the way to the bottom and nice and flush. Bend it over the top. Move your seal there. Bend it over the top. Get it nice and flush and seal it up. Now look at that. That's going nowhere. It is beautifully protected. That's a 10 out of 10 method every time for shipping your card. And then you get yourself a bubble mailer envelope. This one here is just like the regular small size for cards. Get some traction there, slide your stuff in, seal it up, you know, peel that, seal it up, apply your label, some nice tape, whatever, and boom, there you go. That will arrive safely to your customer 99.9% of times. Only if it's like run over by the mail truck or something really bad happens to it is it going to get damaged. Other than that, that's arriving in mint condition. So that's for cards. You can use that obviously with any card that fits in a top loader. Knock yourself out. That's a very good method. Tried and true. I've sent over like 1,000 cards using that method and people love it. Next, we'll talk about comic books. So if you sell comic books or magazines, here's just a random comic I grabbed. This one here is Machine Girl issue 1. Nothing special. It's a super cheap comic. So you just get yourself a pack of these cardboard. These are cardboard envelopes. No bubble mailer or anything like that. It's just solid cardboard. No branding, so you don't have to ship it priority mail or anything. You can do media or standard mail or whatever, depending on what you have in it. And you have your comic book bagged and boarded, and just slide it on in there as such. Now, it would be helpful if you could see, just slide it on in there as such. Make sure, and these envelopes are specifically designed for this, so it fits really, really nice and snug. The word is so funny. It fits nice and snug, and then you just fold over the top, rip it, seal it real tight, and that is the best method for shipping comics that I would say are like $40 or less, just for the risk factor. $40 or less, and that'll get safely to your customer 99.9% of times as well. Super easy to open. You know, you can apply some tape to the edge when it's on the back, but these also have a pull tab here, so you just rip it, boom, they're in business. They've got their comic in hand. No messing around with tape, no messing around with none of that. That's by far and away one of the best ways to ship a more affordable comic book. And then the way that you'd ship anything that's worth more than that was already revealed in the video from the seller who did it and got the only 10 out of 10 very, very well. And this is it right here. Double sandwich between cardboard. You know, put it in a nice custom fit box for it and seal it up and put your one piece of packing tape up the middle. Boom. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. The final thing that I'll mention in terms of shipping method is, we'll say like a collectible in general. We'll say a figurine, or in this example, we'll go ahead and use that Commander Legends box. So we have here an empty box. You can probably, you know, first thing first is you get it and you want to tape the bottom real nice. You want to make sure that, I mean, I would probably alter this myself a little bit to where it's more closed, and tight fitting and tape it to where it's really, really nice fit. And once you have all of that situated, then you've got the box. So then what you do is you take a bag from the grocery store, from a grocery run of yours that you've done recently. Just showing this here as an example. So you just you make sure that it's like the bag that you put cereal or other dry items in. Don't ever use any that's stored meat or anything that like a frozen good that has moisture in it. So just be very conscious of that if you're going to use this. You can always use like a large size Ziploc bag or something of that nature too. But I just do this for a little bit of added protection. You get, say, the item, like in this case, that booster box, that collector's edition booster box, and you put it in this bag. Kind of hard to get it on camera, but you put it in the bag and you kind of wrap it up, once again, nice and snug. You don't want to use any tape. You just wrap it to where it's protected. And the point of doing this with this particular type of item is it has a wrapper on it, right? So the box has that factory seal on it, and you don't want that hitting any extra friction in shipping and potentially ripping the seal. So you want to protect the box, but not in an extremely annoying way for your customer. You don't use any tape. So you put this here, put it to the side, okay, and get yourself some packing beads. So you get some packing beads. I have some here from another shipment. And you put them, you line the box with the packing beads. You could also use bubble wrap if you have like one of those large, a large roll of bubble wrap. That works too. It's actually probably a little better. But the packing beads, this will 100% make sure this gets there safe. So you line it, then you put the item in the middle, and then you coat it with the beads. Make sure that everything is nice and in all the crevices that it can be in, and then fold down the flaps. You know, remove beads as needed just to make sure you don't want to overpack it. And then you tape it shut and put your shipping label on there, and once that's done, you have, it is not going anywhere. There's no movement whatsoever of that item inside of this box. It can be tossed across the yard. It'll arrive just fine. That's at least a 9 out of 10, or in some cases a 10 out of 10 method of packing a collectible. And so that goes for anything like figurines, anything that is in need of being suspended in shipping, suspended in beads or things like that. You typically don't want things pressed against the cardboard or loose. So this is the way that you do if you're selling something that's larger and more valuable. Yeah, so I really hope that this video was helpful to anyone out there who's aspiring to sell a bunch of their collectibles or just dabble in the selling of collectibles online. That's kind of the point of the video. I really just wanted to do a little announcement here and show some examples of things, because I receive packages all the time, and the methods that people come up with and use are sometimes really funny and sometimes just super annoying that make you want to pull your hair out. In this particular example, we didn't really run into any that make me want to pull my hair out, but we did run into some examples from all across the board. So that wasn't planned out. That's just how it happens. That's really, these were totally organic in nature. That's how I received them. That's exactly what you saw. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. Please give it a like. I need the thumbs ups. Or subscribe to the channel. There's going to be tons of content similar to this, and showcasing PSA reviews and PSA submissions, and just various other things about the cards and collectibles trade and hobby. So thank you very much for coming by. I really appreciate it. Take care.